There are things of the abyss better left unexplored and undiscovered.
Hi, I'm Mathieu. I'm the game director on Dead by Daylight, and I'm also the head of partnerships for Behavior Digital. Well, the idea for Dead by Daylight came from two sources. First of all, we've really wanted to do a game where one side would be completely harmless and helpless in a situation, and where the other side you had someone that was invulnerable and all powerful, and see the sort of dynamic clashes that happen between those two. And the other thing that inspired us was that sort of weird fantasy of being the bad guy in a horror movie, especially like the old school 80s slasher kind of movies. The asymmetrical gameplay was there from the beginning. I mean, the notion of all the power being on one side, and then on top of that, we knew we wanted to have a couple of people on one side and one person by themselves on the other. We were essentially creating two completely different games, sort of a co-op game and a single player game, and they needed to sort of mesh together. We weren't sure at first it was going to be 1v4. We tried a couple of different combinations, but it felt like 4 people on that team was just the right amount. More than that, and some people felt like they weren't part of the team, or they could leave the others to do all the work. But at 4 people, everybody sort of has to pull their weight, or else something's going to go wrong. And it did help also with matchmaking, obviously. Having just 4 people to find on one side to one killer made things a little easier. It's true. There were very few games that had tried something like that before we did ours. But the idea is sort of an old one. The pure idea, if you will, was probably close to hide and seek, la cachette en français, or whatever you call it in your language, because I think every kid in every culture has played this game at some point. The very simple thing of someone goes to hide and someone tries to find them, and the absolute terror you can feel while being completely safe, that absolute physical reaction that you get, is something that we really wanted to recreate. We had a couple of big hurdles throughout production, especially in the beginning. Things like, for instance, we had the difficult question of saying, should this be a really like tightly balanced sport-like experience, or should it be more of a narrative and sort of chaotic experience? And we went for the more narrative one. We really wanted to tell a story. We wanted people to get immersed in the adventure and have these sort of weird things happen that they could then talk to their friends about. And so it allowed us a little bit of freedom. And we ran into a couple of those questions as we went along. But I don't think we wavered much. Like, the core idea was found really early on. Just the desire to make this a simple experience with a lot of variety in the back. Well, I think that's exactly what I just said. It's the fact that it's such a simple experience. Anybody can pick it up and get the idea. Like, you are a survivor. You have to get out. There's a machine there. It doesn't even matter. It's more of a concept of something, and you have to fix it so you can leave. And you get chased, so you run away. These things are so very human and so very basic. And then at the same time, we have so many characters now. We kept bringing more and more to this game. So now you have a ton of different killers with lots of different power sets that always bring something new to the equation. A lot of different perks, and the combinations are now astronomical. And so every time you play, whether you've been there for 20 minutes or whether you've got 5,000 hours in the game, whenever you start playing this game, you will get a surprise. Something will happen that you did not expect. And that's part of why this game is a success. It's also why it's such a great show. It's so fun to watch because something interesting always happens. I think it's great. Overall, I think it's great. More games means more fun for gamers. And if anything, it shows that this is a type of gameplay that players want to hear more of, that developers are inspired by. And that means that we've done something right, which is just great to hear. Uh, we're not too worried. I don't want to be too boastful, but it's sort of part of my job. So I'll say that we're not worried because Dead by Daylight is the biggest horror asymmetrical game out there. It's now a home to, it's a hall of fame for all of these horror legends from movies, TV, video games. They're all in there. They're all there to be presented like a museum, to show people, to put them in contact with these icons from, before time. Sometimes there's very young players out there, but also current things. And the fact that all of these things are in the game means that I don't think many other games can claim that. And the bottom line here is I'm a gamer before I'm a developer, and I want more games out there. I want people to try things that we didn't think of and do things that we didn't do and impress me and entertain me. I'll say get ready to have some very sweaty phones, but I'll also say welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a good time.